Hi there, this is Jen, and thank you for joining me today. Today I have a really quick video with a really fun technique, and the technique that I'm going to be using today is watercolor stamping. This is a quick and easy way to watercolor. For my cards, I'm going to be using some iridescent watercolor so that I could do this on both black and white cardstock. But you can use really any watercolor you have, water-based markers, anything like that. I'm going to start out with a piece of watercolor cardstock cut down to 5.5 by 5.5, and I'm using some of these Creative Expressions iridescent watercolors, and I've just spritzed those with water to get them nice and wet so it's easier to use. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just grabbing the color and adding it to the stamp. I'm not really doing this in any particular order or color combination. I am just picking some of the colors that I like and adding them randomly to the stamp just to get a little bit of a variation in color. And once I have that all stamped up or inked up with my watercolors, I'm going to go ahead and shut the door of my MISTI. Excuse my voice. I am a frog this morning. And you can go ahead and dry this and then reapply more color if you would like. But I decided to just go ahead and leave it as is and not overdo it, which I have a tendency to do sometimes. And I went ahead and placed the cardstock back into my MISTI, and then I am inking the stamp up with some Versafine Black so that you can see all of the little details of the image. And the name of the stamp is called Time for Tea, and that pretty much finishes off this card. I added a little bit of color to the background and mounted this on a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 piece of cardstock and added the sentiment that says "just for you," and that will finish that one off. For the next card, I'm using a stamp called "I'll Be There For You," and I am inking that up in some white pigment ink, and then I will apply some white embossing powder over that. I really love the look of the white against the dark cardstock or black cardstock. I just think it is really striking. And then for this card, I am going to use the same watercolor palette that I used for the first, but since these are iridescent, the colors are going to look a lot different. So the color I'm applying right now that looks yellow is actually going to be like a really light green color on the black cardstock. And I'm basically repeating the same process as I did for the first card. The only difference is on this one, I did the outside first and stamped it onto my paper, and then I'm going to do the centerpiece or the owl. And so you can see all the colors right now, they look pretty much red, but when I stamp that up, it's going to give me some pinks and some blues and some purples. It's really, really pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and take a baby wipe and kind of blot up some of that color, since a little bit of it is sitting on top of that embossed area, and then there's just, in general, a little bit too much water sitting on the cardstock. And so I'm just going to blot a little bit of that up, and that will bring out the color that is underneath it. I mean, that pretty much finishes this card off. I'm going to go ahead and mount this one as well on a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 piece of cardstock. I really love this technique though, because you can use really any medium that you have that will react with water. So you can use your watercolor powders, your marker, water-based markers you can use, traditional watercolors, anything will work on this, and it is truly just the quickest watercoloring ever. And it's super fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it or find it informative, please go ahead and give a thumbs up. As always, I thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope to see you next time.